What do you want to do? There's more to life than these four walls. Please, I beg of you, special needs. Sit down with your partners, sit down with your husbands, your wives, and say, let's look to the future of our special needs kid. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the latest episode of the Nick Speaks podcast, the podcast dedicated to giving the disabled community a voice, where we speak up, speak out, and speak loud. I'm your host, Nicolas Comstock. You guys, today, before I get into the episode, I want to give a couple housekeeping notes. If you're listening to this podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts, please rate and review this podcast so that other people know that this podcast is out there. And please share this podcast with your friends. Remember that you can also watch this podcast on my YouTube channel at Nicolas Comstock. And as of this recording, we are just like 5 or 10 subscribers away from 500 subscribers on my YouTube channel. So if you have not subscribed to my YouTube channel, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Watch the podcast there. You can also listen to it there. There's an audio and a video version. And comment and let me know what you think of the show. Give me show ideas. If you're interested in coming on the show, please feel free to email me at nickspeaksofficial@gmail.com. You can also use that same email for speaking engagement requests or just to reach out to me and say, hey, what's up, Nicolicious? So I would love to hear from you guys. Feel free to do that anytime. Subscribe to this podcast on all the things and also follow me on my TikTok at Nicolas Comstock. Okay, now that we've gotten the housekeeping notes out of the way, this is a very important episode in my opinion. And if you're a special needs parent, I really want you to stop what you're doing. If you're driving, don't stop driving, but focus on the road. But I really want you to try to put your focus on this podcast for the next 30 minutes or so, because I do believe that the topic that I'm going to talk about today is a very important topic, and it pertains to your special needs child. You guys, May is fast approaching. It is in 5 months and in 1 week. 5 months and 1 week, we will be in the month of May 2025. What happens in the month of May? Graduations. What happens to a lot of special needs adults after graduation? We end up in our rooms with a TV, phone, and computer. And sadly, that becomes our life for the next 20 or 30 years, because our special needs parents don't know what to do with their son or daughter, and their son or daughter becomes depressed because when they were in school every day, they had a routine, they had friends, they knew what they were going to do every day, they had activities, and all of the sudden those things are gone. They don't exist anymore, and school was their one and only outlet to get out. You say, Nick, how is this true? How do you know that after school ends for my special needs son or daughter this year in May, that their life is going to drastically change and they're going to have no friends? Well, I'm not saying that that's going to happen for your special needs son or daughter, but more than likely it probably will. I hope it does not. And I can say that it might very likely happen because it happened to me. My access to the community for about the first 28 years of my life was church, school, home, church, school, home. And then once school got taken out of the equation around the age of 18 years of age, it was church, the occasional doctor's appointment, the occasional family outing, and home. And I was in a room with a TV, phone, and computer, and I felt very alone. I immediately became a member of what I call the Klingon Club. You say, Nick, what is the Klingon Club? The Klingon Club is a club that somebody becomes a part of when they find somebody. They find a friend, and that friend takes immediate interest in them. And so then, because that friend has taken immediate interest in them and really cares about them, that person who's been wanting that for so long, your special needs son or daughter, latches onto that person and starts blowing up their phone and wants to spend every waking moment that they can with this person because they love this person so much and they know that this person loves them. But after a while, the person who spent so much time with them and who poured so much in to your son or daughter gets smothered. And they start ignoring your son or daughter. And then your son or daughter starts to realize that this person who used to come around all the time doesn't come around. And they think it's because of them, and they don't feel loved anymore. And in actuality, that person that left your special needs son or daughter, it wasn't that they didn't love that person anymore. They just couldn't handle it because they were smothered and they had other things to do. And here your son and daughter goes back into their room with a TV, phone, and computer. And a lot of times, special needs families just say, I don't know what to do. They don't have friends anymore. They don't get text anymore. They don't get calls anymore. And then special needs families ride off into the sunset and then get doted on by their friends and family because they're such a good special needs parent, according to these onlookers, but yet their son and daughter sits in a room alone wondering why they don't have any friends. And it's because they clinged on so tight to the friendships that they did have that their friends just didn't know how to handle it, so they stopped coming around altogether. And then your son or daughter are always like, does anybody love me anymore? Does anybody care for me anymore? And you're just like, I'm trying to do my best, but I don't know what to do. When in actuality, your special needs child feels like a burden. And the reason they feel that way is because you, special needs parents, have even told them that you're too busy for them. You have all this work to do. You come home at the end of a 15 or 16-hour workday, tired and exhausted. And so that's the excuse that you give your special needs child as to why you can't take them out. You can't take them out for a nice dinner. You can't take them out with their friends because you're tired, but you have no problem going out with your friends, going out to dinner with your friends, going out to the movies with your friends. But all along, your special needs child sits in that room, depressed, alone, and wondering why they don't have any friends. You say, Nick, at least I didn't put them in a nursing home. Great. You want a cookie? You didn't put them in a nursing home so that they wouldn't get abused, but here's the thing. They're getting neglected and abused by you. And you know how you're neglecting them? By not making sure that they get out in the community. By not making sure that they have the community and the support that they deserve. By putting yourself before them. You say, well, at least I didn't put them in a nursing home. Well, maybe you should have. Because at least maybe someone in that nursing home would show them the attention and the love and the affection that they deserve to get. Because they're not getting it from you. And their lives are going to change become May 2025 because they don't have the forced friendships, as I like to call it, because, you know, they're in school 5 days a week. Maybe they go to school activities outside of school because they have a bus to pick them up. Well, you know, our schools like to preach inclusion. So, you know, they try to make the special needs kids feel important, and the special needs kids feel important at that time for those 8 to 10 hours because, you know, the schools can't preach inclusion and then not be inclusive, right? But once that school bell rings and goes home and they go home for the day, what does your special needs son or daughter do? I don't know what they do, but I can tell you what I did. I couldn't wait for the next day of school, not because I enjoyed school, but because of my best friend that I got to hang out and be with. Because of, I was going to go to lunch and sit with my friends at lunch, and we were going to talk and we were going to laugh. But you know what happened? In May 2009, I lost contact with a lot of those friends. And I went to blowing up a lot of people's phones, begging them to come spend time with me. Because I was in a room with a TV, phone, and computer, and I had no idea what I was going to do. And so I am bringing this to your attention today. And I am begging you, special needs parents, don't allow your children to become a part of the Klingon club. Because your children are going to become angry, bitter, resentful, and depressed. Because not only has it been hard for them to accept their disability, but now they have no friends because of their disability. And not really because of their disability, but because you special needs parents do not make it a priority to make sure that your son and daughter is a part of the community outside of school, outside of the church, outside of their doctor's appointments. Your son or daughter needs to know that they can be included in every part of their community that they want to be included. Yes, you as a parent may need to put in a little bit of more effort, and you as a parent may become a little bit more exhausted. But you know what? That's just how the ball bounces. And you say, well, Nick, I didn't sign up to have a special needs child. I don't know how to handle this. Well, let me ask you something. Do you think your special needs child signed up to have a disability? Do you think they signed up to have someone wipe their butt the rest of their life, wipe their private areas the rest of their life, always have somebody with them, never to do anything on their own? That most people take for granted every day? Do you think your son and daughter signed up for that? No, we didn't sign up for that. And they need you to say, look, neither one of us signed up for this life, son or daughter, but you know what? I'm going to be right here with you, and I'm going to give you the most fulfilling life that I can give you, even if I die trying. You know, it always amazes me that parents take the time with their kids that don't have a disability to sit down with them and say, okay, what does the next few years look like for you after high school? What does the next few years look like for you after college? But they don't sit down with their special needs son or daughter, or they don't sit down with their special needs son or daughter's team at school and say, okay, what are the next few years going to look like for my kid? You know why? Because to be honest with you, having a special needs kid is really stressful anyway. So if they can just throw them in a room with a TV phone and computer, and if it looks like that they're happy with it, then they're okay. But a lot of times, let me tell you something, special needs parents, a lot of times your special needs young adults will put on a mask for you so they don't have to hear these words. Well, at least your situation isn't worse. You could be mentally retarded. You could be mentally challenged. That's what I grew up hearing. You know what? Yes, everyone's situation could be worse, whether you're disabled or not. But at the end of the day, whether you're disabled or not, everybody needs a support team that says, I'm always here for you no matter what. But it almost seems like special needs folks are expected to be happy that at least we're alive. At least we're not in a nursing home somewhere. At least we're not being physically, mentally, and emotionally and sexually abused. If we're in a room with a TV, phone, and computer, we should at least be happy with that because our situation could be a lot worse. And that mentality needs to change. That mentality needs to change, especially. You're not tired from a hard day of work. You're tired of being a special needs parent. And if you can throw your kid in a room with a TV, phone, and computer and give them fast food occasionally to make them happy, you feel that you've done your job. But what you've done, special needs parents, is isolate your kids even further. And you made them feel like a burden to you. And they don't want to let you know because all special needs folks, okay, maybe not all, but a lot of us already feel like a burden to society. And so we're not going to come out and tell you how we feel. We're not going to come out and say, hey, we would like to get out more. Because even if we do, you're going to say, well, I take you to church. I take you to doctor's appointments. And then after we go to the doctor's appointment, I take you to the drive-thru. Yeah, you take us to the drive-thru. And then you know what happens, special needs parents? You're physically taking care of us. And then you like to say, oh, you need to lose weight. Really? Well, you're the one that's bringing us the fast food. So, what I want to say in this episode is that your special needs kids, parents, need as much planning for their future as your non-special needs kids. Because, like it or not, they are not going to be with you forever. You say, well, my kid is nonverbal. He or she is not going to be able to live a normal life. Oh, well, I believe with nonverbal kids now, they have devices where nonverbal kids can point and express what they want. So we can't use that as an excuse anymore. Well, my kid's nonverbal, so it really doesn't matter if we plan for their future. They matter. They matter. And you know what? Sitting in front of a TV, phone, and a computer gets annoying for everyone after a while. They may not feel comfortable telling you, maybe because you've given them, well, you need to be more grateful talk so much. I grew up with this. I know what I'm talking about. You know, I got all the speeches. Well, at least Mom and I took you out for breakfast this week. What? Once every couple of years? Once every 6 months? I got to go out to breakfast with my mommy and daddy. Woohoo! Yay! They tell everybody I'm so smart, but they treat me like I'm a 5-year-old. And don't let your special needs kids sit in a room with a TV, phone, and computer, depressed, alone, and confused. Because you have said, there's not much more I can do. I don't know what to do. Listen, we live in the world of Google. There are programs and things that we can have access to in less than 30 seconds. You just have to put your boots on, pull yourself up by your bootstraps, special needs parents, and help your special needs child figure their life out and make them realize that there's more to life than a TV, phone, and computer. And yes, they can have healthy, meaningful friendships that do not have to be forced if you support them along this life's journey. I am begging you, special needs parents, do not allow your kid to sit there with a TV, phone, and computer and allow their potential that they can add to this world go to waste. Do not let just because you've gotten them to this point does not mean, sorry, my phone dropped, does not mean that you can give yourself a pat on the back, wash your hands, and say, good, I'm done. I've gotten them to this point. I don't know what to do now. I guess they'll be with me until I die. No. There's a world out there. Help your special needs child go explore it. Help them find a way that they can explore this world without you. Help them find a way to find friends outside of school, find friends outside of church, find friends outside of their caregivers and their medical professionals. Don't put your special needs kids through what I've gone through the past 10 years of my life, which is trying to find my way, which is trying to find friends who want to go hang out, which is trying to force friendships with people who really have no interest. Take the next step and don't wait until summer of 2025 after school is over, after they've sung the last graduation song, to say, okay, now what do we do with my special needs child now that they're out of school? Now that the age of 21 has hit, because a lot of special needs kids can stay in school until the age of 21. I left at the age of 18. I said, I'm not staying here a couple extra years. It was a glorified babysitting service, and I hated it. But I left without a plan, and it's because those around me didn't think of a plan for me and with me. They just thought I was always going to be with them. My parents were going to work forever. I was going to come home, and that was it. Don't let your special needs kids take the path that I had to take, which is a path that I took alone, a path that was very isolating, a path that I would not wish on my worst enemy, and a path that too many special needs young people are on because they don't have enough people who care about them and who are willing to get off their ass and say, let's figure out your life. What do you want to do? There's more to life than these four walls. Please, I beg of you, special needs. Sit down with your partners, sit down with your husbands, your wives, and say, let's look to the future of our special needs kid. You know, school's going to end in May for them. Next September, they're not going to get up and go to school because they're seniors in high school now. So let's figure out what they're going to do after that. I hope this message was eye-opening for a lot of you special needs parents. This is something that is very personal to me. This is something that I'm still struggling with to this day, which is one of the reasons why I started the podcast, to get my story out there and to really share with you what I went through so that you don't go through the same things with your special needs kids. And I really hope that this message today really causes you to think about the next steps that you need to help your special needs son or daughter take. And you need to let them know that I'm not going to let you sit in a room with a TV, phone, and computer. We're going to get out and discover this world. We're going to get out and get you working. And if there's nobody that'll hire you, we'll figure out a way to start your own business. Because unfortunately, that's what a lot of special needs folks have to do. We have to start our own business because there's not a lot of people out there that'll hire us. That's another topic for another day. If you guys would like to talk about, the difficulties of getting hired as a person with a disability and the challenges that you had to face, go ahead and email me. I would love to do several shows on the topic. because we have got to do a better job of getting people with disabilities more integrated into our communities. And the only way we're going to do a better job of getting people with disabilities more integrated into our communities is if the people around us start speaking up and saying, hey, putting our kids into a day program all day isn't a good thing. Putting our kids into a room with a TV, phone, and computer is not good for them. And I will not stand for that. They need to be in a community where they're making a difference and they're giving back and they're feeling loved. So I really hope that you special needs parents take this message to heart and share this with your friends, share this with your school districts, and let's start getting special needs young folks' lives outside of school and outside of church and outside of our medical appointments, because there is so much more to life than medical appointments, church, and the occasional outing with the family in school. There is so much more to life, and special needs folks deserve to experience it. Thank you so much for listening to this episode today. Again, this is the podcast Nick Speaks, the podcast dedicated to giving the disabled community a voice, where we speak up, speak out, and speak loud. Feel free to email me, like, and rate this podcast, and I will see you in the next installment. Thanks, guys. Bye.